Hello, good people. In this video, we're going to talk about Blackboard Collaborate, what it is, how to use it, how to install it, and how to employ it in an online learning environment. With respect to what Collaborate is, Blackboard Collaborate is essentially a platform that's been designed for online learning. It can exist in in-class learning environments, but again, it's been developed primarily for online learning. If you take Microsoft Teams, which a lot of you have been exposed to, and Skype, you combine them together with some limited functionality, you get Blackboard Collaborate. Collaborate helps teachers and their students overcome location-based barriers that exist in learning environments. So, for example, if I wanted to communicate with a student in an intimate fashion that is not email, I can use Blackboard Collaborate. If I wanted to create lecture videos, I could do that. If I wanted to have a live lecture with online viewers, I could do exactly the same. So Blackboard Collaborate, while it can be used in in-class settings, its main functionality exists in online learning environments. So Collaborate can be used for quite a few things. I have three things here. It can be used for four. The first of which is teleconferencing. So if you've ever been sick or can't make office hours, you can log into Collaborate. You can have your students log in to Collaborate. You can answer their questions. You can use the chat function to answer their questions, or you can enable your audio on your computer and you can speak to them as if you were having a phone call with them, which is really nice at times. Other functionalities include online recorded lectures. So you can upload a slide deck to Collaborate and you can speak to it, you can mark it up, and you can record it with your audio. You can also download that video off of Blackboard, load it up to YouTube, automatically caption it, change up the transcript a bit, and then load it back into Blackboard, and you have made yourself an online lecture video. Otherwise, you can do live online lectures. So you log on to Collaborate, you do the same thing. So you upload your slide deck. Other students also log on to Collaborate and they can follow your lecture as you're giving it. Okay. One of the advantages of doing that from my perspective was I was able to record those lectures as I was giving them. So students that were able to be with me could be there and participate, ask questions, but students who had to work or had other obligations, whatever the case, they could watch the video later and then email me with their questions or attend online office hours. You can also use Collaborate in in-class settings. I'm not really sure that the purposes of this video really include that, but I mean, if you're in a lab or if you're in a computer lab, you can use Collaborate to share your screen with everybody else, and you can do exercises and record them as you're doing them so that students can practice outside the classroom. Okay, so here we're going to show you how to incorporate Collaborate onto your Blackboard shells, and then some of the general settings that you can use to set it up with, and some of the very basic functionalities that it has. So if you log on to Blackboard, and then one of your shells, you'll see this little tiny plus sign on the top left-hand side of your screen. If you go down to Tool Links and you click it, if you see the type here, click the drop-down menu and then select Blackboard Collaborate. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing, and then give it a name. So I'm going to call it Collaborate. There we go. And I'm going to make it available for users, which is important, and I'm going to hit submit. As I hit submit, it includes it in my my tabs here. Okay, so I'm going to hit it. There we go. So here we are. So there's this is the sessions page of Blackboard Collaborate. There's there's 3 pieces of functionality that I want you to get from this. One is the drop-down menu on the left-hand side. So the sessions page is what you just saw. When you hit recordings, it's going to show you all the recordings that you've made, okay? And then based on that, you can download them, share them, what have you. But we'll get there. If we go back to the sessions page, you can create a session. So you can schedule a session for a live lecture with your students, or you can create sessions for teams or groups within your courses. And I'll show you how to do that. So either which way you do it, hit create session. There we go. We're going to call this group 1 session. Ooh. Group 1 meeting area. There we go. Okay, it's going to start today. It's going to have no end, which means that it's an open session. It doesn't have to end. It has no end date. There we go. We save it. Okay, and we've created it. Now, obviously, in most of our classes, we have more than one group, so we would just create another session. There we go. So group 2 meeting area, Yahtzee, no end. Ooh. And details, no end. There we go. And now we've got 2 areas where 2 groups can meet remotely. Okay, so they don't have to come to the college or to wherever they would meet to have their group discussions. Over here on the right hand side, there's session options. If you click it, you can join the course room. We're going to talk about that in a bit. You can edit settings, view reports, get a guest link, lock the course room. What I'd like to show you here is some of the settings. Okay, so if you click the settings on the bottom, always make sure you've allowed recording downloads, because if you record a lecture, you want to be able to make sure that you can download it so that you can upload it to YouTube or a transcription software so that it can be just transcribed so that it's accessible. Okay, share audio, video, these are all settings that are already choose for you, and they're good to go. So we've done that. Let's hit save, and there we go. Our Blackboard Collaborate is good to go and good to use. In the following slides, I'm going to show you how to use it for office hours. I'm going to show you also how to use it for online lectures or live lectures. And yeah. Okay, so using Collaborate for online office hours is pretty simple and straightforward. If you go to Collaborate, so I'm going to hit Collaborate here, it populates. Perfect. Now, assuming you've told your students that you're going to meet them at a specific time and you've logged in, you go over here, you hit the session options, okay, hit join course room. There we go. It's going to do its weird little circly thing. Perfect. It's important to note that if you're logging in for the very first time or on a new computer, it's going to tell you to do a whole bunch of tutorials and training and stuff like that. You can go through them if you want. Otherwise, just hit the little X that pops up. Okay. So this is the screen that you're going to log into. Okay. You'll notice that you're the only one in the room, and you can blah blah blah. On the top left-hand side, there's a session menu. Most of these options are pretty much useless for our purposes. The only one I'd like to bring to your attention is start recording. Okay, you can record a session, whether it's an office hours or a lecture. You can record it for later use. Okay, and that's how you do it. Before you do that, you have to make sure that your audio is being shared. So right now, my audio is not being shared because I'm using PowerPoint for this. If I wanted to share my audio, all I'd have to do is come down here, click, and then it does. If it's green, it's good to go. There we go. Okay, so and then I would share start the recording, and then I would start my lecture. You can also share your video if you'd like. So if you're recording a demo or a lab, all you would need to do is bring your Surface or your laptop, and you would be able to capture that video. Okay. What you might not be able to see is on the bottom right-hand corner right here, this little purple tab. It's the control panel, if you will. So if you hit it, it automatically pops up to the chat. So this is where people in the room can post you questions, or you can even post questions to them. So ask a question, ... Perfect. Okay, so I can post a question, they can answer it, things like that. If I come over here to attendees, it's almost like a class list or attendance, which can be downloaded later. There's some settings over here that you can play with. But more importantly, over here is share content. Okay, so I can share a whiteboard, I can share my screen, or I can share a file. So if I was doing calculations or if I was doing calculations or drawing a diagram, I could pick the whiteboard and I could draw stuff, okay, or not. I could share my application or screen, okay, or I could share files, which I'll show you in a later slide. Where this becomes useful for office hours is you can have that chat open as well as the whiteboard, and you can share your audio, and your participants can share their audio, and they can ask you questions. So if they wanted to know, how to calculate break even, or what the basic accounting equation was, or how to calculate profit, you could show them on the whiteboard with a calculation, or you could share your screen and show that as well. Okay, so let's see if I can do that now, actually. So I won't be able to now because I'm using a different application for this, but as long as students log in, they can ask you questions, they can vocalize it to you, you can answer them as well. Where this becomes really useful in online classes is through being able to upload files. So you can upload images, PowerPoints, PDFs, or other files. Where it becomes useful to us is we like to speak to PowerPoints. So we can upload a PowerPoint to collaborate and then speak to it, mark it up, and also be able to answer questions at the same time and record the entire session. Okay, so here we're going to show you how Collaborate can be used for a live or a recorded lecture. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the Share Files option, and I'm going to go to Share Files. I'm going to add some files. Okay, I'm going to let's do finance. Yeah, we'll do a good one. There we go. So it's going to upload. So you see how it's uploading. It takes a while to convert. It has to convert to, I guess, a Collaborate friendly version. When you see the Share Now button pop up, and I'll show you what that looks like in a second, then you're good to go. but it is converting still. While we have some time, I think I'll show you what some of these buttons mean. Firstly, this is the selector button, so you can select a certain area of the screen. You have a pointer. You can create, for those of you who have a stylus, you can use the pen function and draw stuff. So break even, you can create shapes. So eclipse, there we are. You can create text. I won't be able to do that with my stylus. Or erase everything. Okay. You can also stop students from sharing their own creative, text or interpretations of what you're saying. So over here, we're good to go. The PowerPoint slide has uploaded. We're going to share it now. There we go. You'll see the slides pop up. There we go. It is now on their screen. It's on your screen. You can go forward. You can go back. Okay. There we go. As long as if you're doing this live, you need to have the audio enabled so that they can hear you. So right now I've got the audio enabled. If you wanted to record it, this particular lecture, you would come over here to the options button and you would start the recording. Okay, and then you could proceed with your lecture. So common stock, chapter 9. We're going to go over some objectives. Talk about common stock. There we go. Estimating common stock. We're good to go, right? This is pretty much doing a PowerPoint presentation online. The value of doing this live is that students can post their questions here, right? Or sorry, here. Like, what is common stock? You'd be able to answer that question because they've posted it, right? You can also record it for students that were not able to make it to this particular live online class. And yeah, so it's pretty useful. You can also capture your own your own screen. You can, it's kind of finicky because you won't be able to capture it sounds silly. You won't be able to capture your own screen that is looking at Collaborate because it's going to go all funky. You can only share your screen with another application that is not Collaborate. So I could, if I'm doing it here, let's see, I'm going to share screen. Right now it's doing this weird funky thing. You see what's going on here? If I do that, share, and then hit another, then we're good. Okay, so it won't do that weird thing that it was doing before. Let's go back to Collaborate. There we go. Oh, see, it's doing it right now. I'm going to stop that. There we go. Whiteboard, perfect. So there's a lot of things that you can do with Collaborate. You can have office hours. You can do an online lecture. You can record it. So that, if there's a location-based barrier between you and your students, as there are in most online courses, you can really mitigate that, right? And connect with your students. However, uploading these videos to Blackboard does take a little bit of work. It's not huge. There's a hard way and there's a quick way, which is what I'm going to show you in just a second. So let's say you've made a lecture video in Collaborate, okay? So you've used Collaborate, you've had a lecture, you've recorded it with your audio. How you stop that is you very simply X out of the the Collaborate tab. When you do that, the session is automatically logged in Blackboard and is stored in your recordings. So here, I've got 3 recordings. What you do to download, okay, so a couple steps back. What you're going to do here, in order to upload a transcribed lecture video into Blackboard, you have to first download the video that you've created, upload it into YouTube, and then share the link on Blackboard, which sounds like a lot, but it's not actually a terrible amount of work. So what we're going to do here, go to your recording options, hit the options button, you're going to download it. There we go. It downloads it as an MP4, saves it in your downloads normally. Okay, so this one's downloading. So I'm going to use a previously downloaded recording and go to YouTube. So you have to do this, you have to set up a YouTube channel. Okay, so you've got to go to you've got to set up a YouTube account, set up a channel, and as you've done that, you can upload videos, okay, using this icon, okay. Ooh, okay. When you click that icon, I'm going to get rid of that. Hold on. Go back here, actually. There we go. Dismiss. We're going to go back. Get rid of this. You can create, actually, we'll go back further just so you can see what it looked like. Give me 1 second. There we go. Okay, so I'm logged into my channel. You just have to follow the steps in creating a channel. You go over here to this little movie button, I guess, to create a movie or a post. Click it, upload a video, and you're going to get this. Okay, so you can select a file, or you can drag and drop one. So I'm going to drag and drop one here. So I'm going to go down to my files here. I'm opening up. So see, these are some of the MP files here are the ones that I've downloaded from Collaborate. So I'm going to grab the first one I see, go down to the internet, and I'm going to drag and drop it here. There we go. I can give it a new name. That looks pretty good. A thumbnail. I'm not terribly worried about a thumbnail at this point. Playlist, no. Is it safe for kids? Yes. Age restrictions, no. Okay, whatever. And then as I come down here, it's automatically going to upload subtitles that are English. Okay. And then you hit next. Okay. You're going to have to publish your video as one of these 3 types, okay? In order to share your video on Blackboard, you have to save it as public, which is fine. I mean, nobody's really going to look at it other than your students. We've already talked about if this is about kids or some sort of content guidance. So you hit publish. There we go. And then it's uploading. It's uploaded. Sometimes it takes a really long time to process. For example, at this time, it's taken, it is 0% processed. Okay, well, for the purposes of this video, we're not going to wait for this. Okay, we're going to go to one of my previous videos. So all of these were uploaded in the exact same manner. Okay, it just doesn't take as long. Okay, so here we go. So this was calculating and using coefficients of variation. Okay, the video link is right here. The video is 6 minutes and 28 seconds long. We'll say yes, it's made for kids, or at least kids friendly. If we copy this link right here, there we go. So hit Control C. There we go. We go back to Collaborate, or sorry, Blackboard. Go to Learning Materials. There we go. There we go. If we wanted to include that video, what we would do is go to Build Content, come to a YouTube video. There we go. You've got a blank screen. Come over here to Search. As long as you've copied the URL or the link from your video, you hit Control V or paste, hit go. There's an error naturally. Okay. So let's go back and see what it is. Copy video link. There we go. Go back to Blackboard. Let's see if we can do it a different way. Web link. There we go. Hit Control V. Video. Give it a. Oops, sorry. Wrong way. Give it a name. Video. There we go. Give it. There we go. So this is the link that you wanted to. This is the link for your video, and this is the name of your video. Hit submit. There we go. So if we hit video, it automatically populates.
There we go. Share applicant screen. There we go. There we go.
And that is how you. And that has. That's how you post a video into Blackboard. I'm not really sure why the YouTube function wasn't working. It could be there's been some subtle changes with the YouTube channel requirements. For example, the is it made for kids or not? I'll have to look at that. I'm not really sure why, but the web link will work just fine. As long as it's uploaded to YouTube, it will be captioned, which is necessary for accessibility, and you should be good to go.